Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to David Bell's Tang Show. I am Master David Bell. And tonight, as usual, I'm pretty excited. Hopefully, this will be a special show for you. I'm holding one of the 3 or 4 weapons that I teach. This is what they call a bone. This particular weapon, first, will date back, I guess, to the days of Africa. And sometimes you'll see in a movie that the warriors in Africa would go in the jungle and fight a lion with a bomb. Of course, the Africans did not document that as an art form, but we take this 2,000 years back to the Korean documentation in the Tang system. So I'm not really going to get really into the history of where this comes from. Just going to use it and talk about how I bring it into our system in Tang today. First, I think we'll talk about the level in which I would bring a weapon into the system of training. I believe as an instructor now, in about 30 years of training in Tang system, it is very important to understand the self, to have kind of an in-depth understanding of the self, empty-handed, the balance, the coordination between the hands and feet, breathing, and then movement. Once we get some of this coordination established, I would say within about a year, then we can start to put a foreign object in the hand. First, if we display this, we go into a system of what we call just a blocking system from here. To feel a good stance, coordination between the hands, and stepping. And then even in a punching situation, rotation, breathing. Now, once we establish some coordination between stances and then hands, then we're ready to somewhat put, this is a pretty safe weapon. At the same time, it's a pretty deadly weapon, but it's safe to use to practice with. Now, for instance, tonight I'm going to be illustrating 3 basic forms. Now, I have to credit the World Tang Association for these forms. I was with that association for 17 years, and just simply basic, but it's a good system to teach by. So I give that credit to them. But now, just getting ready. First, to choose a bow to work with. A bow comes in 6 foot, 5 foot, and what they call a 4 foot little joke. So, to pick a bow, you want to get a bow that's comfortable in your hand. Now this one is pretty comfortable for me because I can get my fingers all the way around it. Okay? All the way around it and still have a pretty nice fist. Okay? Now, the ideal length. The bow that's closer to your own height will be your ideal length. Okay? Now this, I'm about probably 6'2", 6'3", 4. This is a 6 foot bow. So this would be the bow for me. Now, what we want to do, I want to illustrate the 3 major blocks. For instance, first, just holding the bow. A show, a rest. My bow, if I take my hands about 2/3 of the way down, that's where I want to rest. There. And then choriak. My hands together come to attention. So from here, I want to pick it up about 3 inches. Rotate one to the outside arm and the other come right under the arm. Boom. So, it look like so. And to the hip. Okay. And that's attention. Then my ready position. Okay. To the side. Put it away. Back at attention. From the time I bring it up, I don't want to drop it out. I just want to lift it up. Then I'm going to palm up, reach, and get it. Right? Now, during this time when I bring it to here, I have to weigh it to create the same distance on each end. When I come into Chumbi, I want it to be about waist wide. The distance between my hands about waist wide. That way I can go all the way through without ever moving my hands. Okay? First I'm going to demonstrate what they call the Haranmaki, low block. This particular block, the ball will run parallel with my thigh. Okay? Then, next, middle. This is a middle block. Okay? This one, the rear end of the ball should run parallel with my back leg. Okay? And then, low, middle, and a high block. And you notice, boom, I want to block up, but I don't lock my arms out. Up and down. That way if I'm hitting something strong, my arms are locked, could break my arms. So, I want a springing action. Boom. But still, I want the bow to be over my head. That protects the head. Okay? Pretty simple. Now I think I can go into the first basic hyung. Just about as easy as I can take you through a basic drill. Our first hyung is called Bong Hyung Ilbu. Bong Hyung Ilbu. Bong Hyung Ilbu. Hiya. Hiya. Bong Hyung Ilbu. Thank you for coming back. Now before I get into the next form, or the next hyung, I do want to just kind of illustrate the difference And remember, I'm talking very basic technique. I want to illustrate the difference between an actually strike and a block. Now, in a blocking situation, we'll probably come across, you see the bow with the strike here, clearing the path. You see my hands are crossed. So to come here, I would cross. Okay? Now, in a striking situation, you strike, and just like shooting a palm heel, or pseudo. And this, in high to the head, we either go to the temple, to the ear, to the neck, okay? Just like temple, ear, or to the neck, break the neck, okay? So we're talking the difference, blocking, clearing the path, and striking, okay? Now, there's one other basic attack with the bow. From here into a jabbing situation. There. This would like jab through. Okay? And again, the hands are straight, not crossed. Okay? Now this would take me into the second basic bow form. This one's called Bonghyang Ibu. Bonghyang Ibu. Bonghyang Ibu. Thank you for coming back. Now, just before I do the third one, Bonghyang Sambu, there's a couple of things I want to point out. And this time, transition. First, let me just say, in a weapon, when you put a weapon in your hand and you're doing movement, transition from one place to the other, you don't slow the movement down for your hands. So you want to develop a relationship with the bow where you're not going to slow the movement down to compensate the bow. You're going to Keep the movement going, but then you got to maneuver the bow around the body. Not stop the body to wait for the bow. Okay. With that said, a couple of tips on transition. Okay. First, to step off into Shunku. I'm just going to step. So, where is the bow? Drop to the side, step. Okay? Same thing as you step without the bow, you want to have a block or a punch to be there with the foot. So, from here, now this is the move. Rotate the bow to the side. Okay? Where the bottom end of the bow will be in front of the leg. So from here, rotate, twist the body. Boom. Now bring it out, twist the body. Okay? You see me do the forms if I'm changing directions. Usually, here, here, strike. If I'm going to turn, my rotation would be to the outside. So from here, I will rotate down, bring it across the body with the turn. Rotation to the outside and across the body down. Okay? That's pretty simple. Now, third bow form. This one, just a tad more interesting. I talked in the beginning about jabs. This one you'll see illustrated jabs. This, boom. Remember a jab. Only thing I want to point out here is a jab you want it to come on a level. Here, that will make a good jab. Then you put your body weight behind it. Now, this is a pretty basic form too, just a little bit more interesting. Bonhyang Sambu. Bonhyang Sambu. Thank you guys for coming back, and I really want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. But just before we end, I want to end this show. I know you guys can't see, but my whole little TV staff is made up of my students, and I have second-degree black belt that's directing the show. Mr. Grisey, you see me on the floor with him. Mr. Chris Pitt is on the camera. He's directing, floor director, and Miss Vanna Rao. Audio is Miss Berlin Plabla. And then I have Isande Babara on one of the cameras. So after each time I do a form, I would ask them to score. Score the form, give me a score. And I started off pretty high. Well, I say I didn't want to be embarrassed, so I said 85 to 100. So, and my students think that they're going to end with just the score. But then, if they score, I say, well, why so high, why so low? So they pointed out certain things to me that I would point out when they're doing the form. And I'd just like to share some of that with you. For instance, in the form with the bow, or without the bow, a front stance, boom. I would go through the form sometime pretty intense. So intense that I didn't get my legs set. Back leg needs to be set, hips square, boom, block, and here. That way if anything is coming in, the force would go all the way down to the floor. So, just because you get a little intense upstairs with the arms and the power upstairs, you still have to be set good in your stances. Now, transition, my students brought up. Transition and the transition of the bow. Now, I touched on this a little bit in the segment earlier. Make sure in your movement, your stances are moving. You don't stop the body from moving to compensate for the bow. Okay? The arms. You just got to speed the arms up. Speed the arms up, keep the body moving, and know where the body is at all times. And the arm will move around, will maneuver the bow around the body. Now, this next one, I think it's probably the most, I don't want to say the most important, but this one I pay a lot of attention to also, because in my practice, breathing is very important. In the correct breathing pattern, conduct way, and then to be able to breathe with movement. Okay, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Sometimes I would without the exhale. Okay, my second degree black belt pick it right up on it. So holding your breath, boom. So a good fluid move. We call this having the spirit move with the physical body. So that would be the proper movement and breathing. Okay? And here. Okay? That would be the movement. From here, in the step, inhale, exhale at the end of the step. Okay? That way, when you get to the end of your movement, you blow out, breathe in, and out again. And 2 proper inhales and exhales should bring your body right back to a relaxed state. Okay? I want to thank you guys again for joining me. And I want to thank my students. You can't see them. I want to thank them for joining in with me. Pointing out, paying attention. One thing, in my practice, 12 years now, I've always tried to train my students the same way, believing that they were going to be teachers. I remember Master Leek telling me 30 years ago, you never know who's going to be what. Give your best, always. Give your best to your students. I was the DJ, probably one of the wildest characters in the South. And my instructor, I was very fortunate, trained me well, trained me right along beside the model students. And I was pretty wild, but he gave me just as much. And that's when I'm asking these students to critique my movement. You can only use what I have given you, so be honest. And even critiquing me will make you better. So, I just want to thank everybody for joining me. This was a pretty interesting one. Now, in leaving, if I can help any of you guys, give me a call down at the school. Either with the Tang system, yoga, or energy qigong, just give me a call down the First Tang Fremont. Thank you.